Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
So, this morning we're going to talk about strangers. And perhaps the story could be read first. Shall I read it? It's called The Habit Trap. Okay, everything's good. Wild boars once attacked a village. Every day the wild boars would enter to rampage the food supplies of the village. The villagers tried various means to fight and chase away the wild boars, but without such much success. One day a wise man approached the village. One day a wise man approached the village headman to offer his advice. He told the villagers that he would need to follow all his advice and directions. Out of desperation, the villagers agreed. The wise man instructed the villagers to gather all the food from every household and put it in the middle of a big empty field. They followed his advice. Immediately saw hundreds of wild boars approaching the vicinity where they had placed the food. The wild boars were apprehensive initially, but after a while they went for the food. Once the wild boars had a taste of the food, they came back for their free meal every day. And every day the villagers would put more food in the field, and the wild boars would come to have their free meals. After a while, the wise man asked the villagers to erect 4 poles at the 4 corners of the field. The wild boars were too busy having the food that they did not take notice of what was happening. After a few weeks, the wild boars developed a habit of eating free food. The wise man then asked the villagers to put fences around the field with a large gate through which the wild boars could enter to have their food. Finally, once the fences and the gate were completed, the villagers closed the gate and all the wild boars got trapped inside the field. The wild boars were finally defeated. Habits quickly develop, but it's challenging to overcome them. The wild boars were trapped because out of their greed, they developed a habit of eating free food without having to work for it. They became so comfortable that they did not realize that they were trapped. Most of us, like the wild boars, most of us are like the wild boars because we become so comfortable with sensual pleasures that we do not realize that we are in one way or another being trapped. We seek security rather than freedom. Okay, well, we were talking yesterday about how the holy name is complete with a package of different benefits that we gain. What are the benefits of chanting? Can anyone remember some of them?
We become free from free modes of nature.
Okay, good. Someone else.
We calm our mind.
So,
I missed the class, but we calm our mind.
our minds and senses become
Pacified.
illuminated with knowledge. What else?
Freedom from material attachments.
We stop anchoring for material attachments.
We get rid of the further contamination.
Yes, we get insulation, like the wire insulated. So no further temptations are. Krishna protects us from any further temptations.
We gradually get released from our karma.
Yes. You didn't mention that yesterday, but yes, that's there. Prabhupada said he gave the example of the fan. So the fan is moving because we're acting in such a way that we get reactions. But as we chant, the fan slows down, and at some point it stops. So we don't say, if some devotee is having difficulty or suffering, we don't say, it's your karma. Although I do still hear that. But so what do we say instead? What should we say?
This is a mercy.
Huh?
It's not karma, this is a mercy of Krishna.
The mercy of Krishna. What are you doing?
Your laptop screen is blocking the view.
Good. Sorry, I don't like cameras.
You have no choice.
I'm allergic. And then I can't see the altar. I moved the microphone over here so I can see the altar. Anyway, it's okay. Are you happy now? Sit down, then you be quiet. Right?
I will try to.
You need to sit comfortably because I know you sit in the chair.
I'm okay.
Okay, anything more? What else does the holy name do for us?
We're getting closer to Krishna.
What's that?
We're getting closer to Krishna.
We get closer to Krishna, yes. We start developing the relationship with Krishna. Yes. What a package. Just by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we get all that. And more. We also get our spiritual body. Because this is not our eternal body. We need another body, which is adaptable to the spiritual ways of life. So anyway, we were explaining that yesterday, that simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, we get all these different benefits given to us, automatically. Of course, it's all dependent on our sincerity of purpose. Oh no. Even the gadgets have a mind of their own. Okay, so even though we have a package, even though Krishna is helping us through His holy name, there's certain things that we also must do, besides just chanting. And it's in our power to do it, but often we don't do it. Sometimes we make resolutions. There's a tradition in these Western countries to make a resolution on New Year's Day. We make a resolution, or they make a resolution. That's it, no more smoking. And they last a couple of weeks and they're back again. There's many different things that you can make resolutions for. But there's one problem, is that we don't like change. We are in this habit trap. I am like this, and this is it. Right? We don't like change. We don't like, at least we don't like to change ourselves. We think that ourself is okay. We use this word okay. Okay, it's okay. We use that word a lot. Now anyone asks you, how is everything? Well, it's okay. We know it's not okay, but we say we're okay anyway. So let me just read a few things that I've taken some notes. Many of us make resolutions for the new year, but many of us haven't followed through on our previous year's resolutions. And it can even get depressing to think about how many times this has happened over the years. So why we don't follow through our resolutions? How do we permanently change our actions? It is said everyone wants to see change in others and the world, but nobody wants to see changes in themselves. Why? Because it is difficult and uncomfortable. It seems easier to keep the status quo, even if the status quo is less than desirable. So there's even a saying in the Bible: everyone wants to go to heaven, but just not today. Everyone wants to go to heaven, but just not today. So that's like our situation. And we need something to cause us to make changes. And this is where again Krishna comes in. Krishna comes into our life in so many various ways. And that ultimately we are forced to make changes. So, what are these ways that Krishna intervenes? Changes will only come when we're dissatisfied. Only when we're completely dissatisfied do we actually make a change. It's almost we've got to come to the point of saying, that's it. That's it. I've had enough. We even say it, I've had enough. I've so many years hesitated. I've so many years performed activities which I shouldn't perform. I wanted to be my so-called self. You know, when someone comes up to you and says you're not chanting the Hare Krishna mantra properly, we get a little bit offended. Who are you to tell me? And even if we accept what someone says, do we actually consider making a change? Hardly not. So we need some pushing force, and Krishna is the pushing force. And the way he pushes us for change is that he makes us get down on our knees. That's the point when we make the change. Material nature is so cruel, but there's a reason for it being so cruel. Sometimes people question, well, if there's a God, then why are so many people suffering? He cannot be a compassionate God if we're all suffering. But that suffering is actually what helps us to wise up and make the necessary changes to come closer to Him and ultimately to get out of the material world altogether. We change when we make a decision that I've had enough, I must change. If there's something we don't change, that we could change, then we need to acknowledge that we are concluding that changing is more painful than leaving things as it is. Until you say, I've had enough, you will continue experiencing the pain of not changing. It is extremely difficult to change, but living with the pain year in, year out made life so unpleasant So one day we say, that's it. And that's it with the camera. Take it away. If you cannot have a camera that keeps still, then don't have a camera. I mean, it's just so annoying that you have to make this fiddling around while I'm giving a class.